Margaret Lascion Corla. Minister, I'd like to ask you about the number of bovine animals found to have failed the TB eradication test in each of the years 2019, 2020 and to date in 21 in respect of both the beef and dairy herds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy O'Sullivan, for the question. The number of dairy herd reactor animals is 8,837 for the year 2019. It was 12,440 for the year 2020, and it was 8,402 up to the 29th of September for the year 2021. The number of suckler herd reactor animals is 5,894 in 2019. That was up to 7,275 for 2020, and it was 4,684 as of the 29th of September of this year. The number of other herd reactor animals is 347 for the year 2019, 515 for 2020, and 344 up to the end of September of this year. The overall total, so in respect of reactor numbers across the board, then is 17,000 for the year 2019, 22,562 for 2020, and 14,900 up to the 29th of September. Herd incidence has risen every year between 2016 to 2020, which has been very concerning. This disease causes untold hardship for farmers and farming families, as you know, and although the challenge is serious, my department, working together with stakeholders, are engaging with farmers and are committed to working to reverse the trend we've seen and work towards eradication of the disease. Earlier this year, as you know, I launched a new bovine TB eradication strategy, bringing us from 2021 to 2030. The implementation of this strategy is overseen by the TB Stakeholder Forum, with support from 3 new working groups on science, implementation and finance, to ensure that all aspects of the strategy are addressed. Extensive consultation with the 3 working groups will develop a shared understanding of how collectively we can work to reduce incidence, along with implementing the new TB eradication strategy over that period. Thank you.
Thanks, Minister. Those figures are very concerning, obviously, that you've read, and the trend is fairly clear for people to see. And it just confirms, I suppose, what we'd hear on the ground, you know, that there is a prevalence of TB again. And I suppose many farmers that I would have contact with, you know, they're talking about getting TB for the first time in 30 years, and you know, there is a prevalence of it there now again, and it does cause obviously monetary distress and personal distress on these farmers. And I suppose to respond to an outbreak, you know, is particularly onerous. Once a TB reactor is found in a herd, it puts huge constraints on the farmer and the way they conduct their business. No movement of animals in or out of the herd will be allowed. 2 consecutive clear tests will be required, and this can take a maximum of 120 days. Could I also ask you, Minister, to look at issues of stock retention on the farm while awaiting de-restriction and the requirement for newborn calves to be reared on a farm? Quite often these could be sold at 7 weeks. A lot of farms are not set up and simply do not have the space for these extra numbers, and it's placing a huge workload and burden on the individual farmer. I would ask that the Minister also could consider allowing contract reared animals and heifers reared on outside places return home to the herd and be included in the compensation framework.
Thanks, Deputy O'Sullivan. Thanks for those suggestions. And as you know, when you're dealing with an infectious disease, the strategy shouldn't be set in stone. And the TB strategy that I have put together is a living document which will be subject to amendment and refinement on an ongoing basis. And that TB Stakeholder Forum and those 3 working groups are considering all issues and matters as it evolves as well, and issues such as that you have put forward there will be considered by them. As part of my ongoing commitment as well, Deputy O'Sullivan, to eradicating the TB, I have sanctioned an additional €1 million in the budget in funding for the wildlife programme, which is an integral part of the overall programme. And there have been positive indications of progress with the TB situation for 2021, likely to represent an improvement, a very necessary improvement compared to 2020. And I think working together we can build on the momentum that we have developed, because I'm very acutely aware of the financial and emotional burden associated with a TB breakdown, and we have to do everything we can working together to tackle this very serious challenge. Thank you.
Just finally to add that, you know, by the end of the year it'll be interesting to see those figures again, how they finalise. But I suppose I'm just giving feedback to the Minister in relation to the lads that are working on the ground in eradicating TB. And I suppose they are highlighting to us that they are facing an uphill battle. Now, that said, I do welcome the investment of €6 million in budget 2022 for TB eradication, but this money must translate to boots on the ground. An important part of this investment is the wildlife programme, as you've said, and increased resources must be targeted in this area. The work is enormous and time-consuming. I ask that the relocation and vaccination programme be escalated and a territory expansion survey carried out in certain areas for certain species. Roaming stocks are also a contributing factor and they would need to be curtailed. I welcome the Department's commitment to a major works analysis and habitat preservation. The impact on wildlife from expansion, deforestation, reclamation is also a contributing factor. These activities should be carefully managed. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Deputy Sullivan, for bringing up this really important issue today and for your interest in it. And I know it comes from the fact that you're engaging with farmers in your constituency and the concern they have in relation to the growing numbers, certainly in 2020, and the burden that puts on those farmers in terms of the stress and the financial strain that's associated. So certainly, I can assure you, this is something we'll continue to work on. Your suggestions, I know, are ones that farm organisations, as part of the TB Stakeholder Forum, are bringing to the table, and all eyes and brains are being applied to it to try and ensure that we're taking a scientific approach with the objective of actually driving down TB numbers, because that's what will be best for all farm families, getting to a situation where we drive it as low as possible, working towards eradication. I thank you for your suggestions today and for bringing it up in the Dáil, and assure you of our combined efforts, working with yourself as well and other Oireachtas deputies who I know are very keen to make progress in this, to set the course in the right direction and reverse the very challenging increases we've seen in the last couple of years. Thank you.